Okay, welcome back. Monday, an awful lot happened over the weekend, and it's going to be one steady ramp upward all week long. We're about a week away now from next Tuesday. The big news, Amy Coney Barrett is about to be sworn in as the next Associate Justice on the Supreme Court. She was approved by the Senate 52-48 today, and Clarence Thomas will be swearing her in momentarily, almost any time now. Lots in the news, lots of headlines. Let me start with just two that are real interesting. All of a sudden, things, no surprise, right? I just think, and I have said before on this program many times, that the creeper Joe Biden Ho Harris ticket is a designated loser ticket. They both have nothing to lose. They both have nothing to offer, and I think that they're going to go down rather noticeably in the polls here this week. We just got one out now. In fact, the Rasmussen poll, the big one. President Trump has now taken the lead over Biden in the Rasmussen poll. Trump's black approval rating has soared now to an unprecedented nearly 50% of African Americans now support Donald Trump. I'm looking at a potential landslide here. I don't see any way to turn it around. If you look at the video embedded at the top of the homepage, you'll understand. Running Joe Biden was just begging to lose. Nobody liked Ho Harris during the primaries. She was just decimated and quit. These two are worse than any other two I could think of. If they had run Hillary Clinton and Pete Buttigieg, for example, at least they would have had some articulate presenters, but they've got nothing now. As far as Hillary is concerned, she said, again today, she's still, as the news headline said, a little salty after 4 years. She said, I was born to be president. And she has become quite vocal this week. She's getting a lot of airtime. Donald Jeffries is here with us this first hour tonight, as he is each Monday, as we roll through this so-called election season. You know, one thing we've learned, all of you, is that what I've said and what many of you have said, we don't need a year-and-a-half presidential campaign. That's a godsend to the advertising agencies. We're doing just fine with a 60 to 90 day campaign season. That's all we need. That's it. We don't need anything else. Donald, welcome back. How was your weekend?
Hey Jeff, how you doing? Just fine. Yeah, it's things are really heating up, and it's I don't know. You're a little more confident than I am that Trump's going to win, although they seem to be. The polls seem to be heading that way. You get that sense, but
here's my bottom line. Here's why. And we know they've been planning this. The communists, Antifa, BLM, they want to just raise hell, burn, loot, pillage. They want to raise hell. Well, if Donald Trump loses, it's going to be a little difficult for them to justify in their own perverted and corrupt way the damages that they would do. If Trump wins, they'll scream, fix, fraud, we're going to burn this place down. You see why he has to win? Otherwise, Antifa and BLM have no legs to stand on. That's the big kicker. That's what makes the difference. Yeah. They've got to have him win.
Well, I don't doubt that. Looks like it's a possible scenario, because then it could also help bring on more unrest.
That's the point. Yes.
Yeah, I just don't think that there's any way that we as a people will benefit either way, whatever happens, because the Democrats.
It doesn't matter. Well said, yeah. Donald. It doesn't matter. That this whole show is in the hands of the global elite who live in the shadows. All right? They're running the show. It's all planned.
It's very strange. Typically in the past in party politics, you would very often usually what you will see is the presidential nominee will typically pick his top competitor in the primaries. That seems to be what happens more often than not. So then really Biden should have picked Bernie Sanders. And I think it would have been, of course they would have criticized it maybe as being too old and too white, which it certainly would have been old. But you talk about a couple of old people, but I think that would have made more sense. And I think it would have invigorated the Democratic Party more because Bernie Sanders still has all his fans there. Kamala Harris, other than the fact you can say she's a person of color and is a female, that's the only thing you can say. I don't think she added anything.
That's a stretch.
No,
that's a
exactly.
stretch.
And she was, I don't think I've ever seen a candidate. Now you had people like Pence that didn't run at all. And, you've had those kinds of things before where somebody just kind of is picked as a running mate for whatever reason. But when they pick somebody that ran in the primaries, typically it's somebody that was successful. Kamala Harris was a miserable failure. Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her in what was it, the second debate, and she quit. She didn't do anything in the primaries.
Designated losers. Losers.
I don't understand the strategy because never before has anyone who was a complete that did nothing in the primaries but did run been picked as a vice presidential nominee. I don't understand it, but then I don't understand how Bernie Sanders suddenly lost states like Minnesota. I mean, how does Bernie Sanders possibly lose Minnesota to Joe Biden? I mean, I think Massachusetts too. I mean, these are the most liberal states. It made no sense at all the way suddenly Biden came out of nowhere when his campaign looked on life support. And within, the Super Tuesday, within a week, suddenly it was inevitable. He's the inevitable nominee. So I don't think anyone really analyzed that. Because as somebody like me who's steeped in conspiratorial politics, I remember looking at that and saying, wow, if I was still a Democrat like I was for a long time, I would have been incensed at the way that went because, I might have been rooting for Bernie Sanders, but I would not have been rooting for Biden even if I was still a Democrat because he was like the most boring guy, the most establishment guy.
It's a designated loser. I'm telling you, the Antifa communist Bolshevik Zionist BLM movement, internationally financed, with cells now in most American communities of any note, cities, towns, doesn't matter. They're spread out everywhere. They're ready to go. If Trump loses, what are they going to be so pissed off about? See what I'm saying? They've got to have that. They've got to have that. He stole the election. He's this. He's that. They've got to have some kind of ground to stand upon and launch their burning and looting and rioting, and God only knows what else they're going to do.
Yeah,
they're going to raise hell.
That's the problem with every movement. Once they get power, then they have to live up to their promises, and neither the left or right has ever been good about that. And no. I don't think because then they'd have to say, okay, well let's have universal health care. Okay, that's quite a venture. You're gonna go up against the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies. I think you'd see them back down real quickly. When things like that, and let's forgive student loan debt. Let's have free college for all. You're gonna go up against how many I talked about in Survival of the Richest. How many university college presidents are making unbelievable sums of money, and people that are in executive boards at these colleges. That's why the tuition fees are so high. How are you going to translate that into free? All these people that are in healthcare, in education, that people that make tremendous profit off the present rigged system, they're not going to go quietly into the night. And a lot of them are, supposed Democratic voters. But if you say you're actually going to do this, wait a minute, hold on a second. And it's the same thing we saw on the right, where going back to Ronald Reagan. It's easy to say we're going to cut all the government agencies. You get into office. Well, no, you didn't even cut the Department of Energy, which was just created. Why didn't you do that? Didn't do anything. And, of course, Trump with all his big promises about immigration and infrastructure, bringing the troops home, all that, you see nothing happens. So I think you're exactly right. Having Trump in the White House is also a focal point, too, to keep people's rage focused on that personality. Because I find as I'm posting things about it, it's like I posted something about Joe Biden yesterday about his first wife's death and a tragic death along with her infant daughter back in 1972.
Right.
And the way Biden has for several times over the years continued to make references to it and say she died because the truck driver drank his lunch for breakfast, inferring that he was drunk when he wasn't. There was no alcohol involved in the crash at all.
Biden's a career liar. He's an inveterate liar. He's been at it for 47 years in the public eye.
It's incredible. But when I posted that, I got so many people saying, "Oh my God, Trump lies all the time." And I said, "Well, look, that's true, but what does that have to do with this?" And they want to focus everything. It's basically down to a kindergarten level. Like when you get in trouble, yeah, but look what he did. He started, and that's what it is.
It is. It's very elementary schoolish. Yeah. Agreed.
It is, and I think we need to look too, Jeff, at all this stuff that's coming out. There's more every day. I was reading today where it's amazing what apparently Hunter Biden. There's film of him doing everything. Apparently, apparently violently raping a 10-year-old Chinese girl, and now doing sexual things with his 14-year-old niece. I mean, why would all this be on tape?
His niece. Now, who was the photographer?
Who was filming this stuff?
Yeah. And then you have the other issue of Biden's daughter, Ashley, and her alleged diary. Huh?
Yes. Yeah,
well,
the
diary is reportedly revealing child sex trauma, drug abuse, resentment for Creeper Joe, her father. I mean, this is one sick, disturbed family.
But it's coming out really at a very strange time. We know the FBI sat on the Biden laptop for like a year. So why wasn't it used then?
Director Ray had that laptop last December apparently, and he has kept it with held from everyone. He's sitting on crucial evidence here. He should be up on obstruction of justice charges, even though there is no trial yet. No charges have been filed. But he has been clearly obfuscating and hiding something that is highly relevant to the future of this country.
Right.
That's
what would have
not
happened?
The job of the FBI.
If this information had been leaking out like it is now, and of course the mainstream media is, the leftist part of the media is doing everything they can to ignore it. But if this had broken back in the primaries, Biden's campaign would have literally been over the next day. He would have been forced to resign just because there were all these allegations, and even though it's his son, we know how
designated loser. He's got nothing. There's nothing there.
And they would have been forced, again, the Democratic Party would have been forced to go with Bernie Sanders, which they clearly, didn't want to do in 2016 or 2020.
Let's remember also, and I mentioned this before to all of you out there, what happened to the primary candidates? All of them suddenly and almost mysteriously within a week announced that they were dropping out and endorsing the creeper. Now, that just didn't happen. They were ordered to do that. Understand, this is all being orchestrated and controlled. They were told to drop out. They were told to endorse him. They did what they were told. End of story.
I thought, wow, it's going to be the first time since the 76 Republican National Convention, where Reagan almost took the nomination from Ford, where you're going to have some intrigue at the convention, where you're going to have a brokered convention. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Good TV, at least. And you and I both thought that, Hillary Clinton might emerge from all that, from the smoke cleared.
Right.
I never, because it clearly looked like at the very least none of the candidates would have enough delegates to win.
She was told some time back, 3-4 months ago, what was going to happen. And she was not going to get it. She wanted to run. She still wants to run. She thinks she should be the first female president. And there's an argument to be made for that in her camp. Big one. But she's not going to run this time. Don't count out some last-minute bizarre things going on here.
I was thinking the same thing. I know it sounds crazy, but it's only a week left. But with all these, again, it depends. The media is still working overtime to ignore these Biden tapes. But if there really exists tape, and again, of course, that's his son. It's not him. But it does reflect the fact, and especially Biden's daughter. If Biden's daughter somehow gives an interview and says, yeah, my dad did. Trump is weird enough with his saying, I'd date my daughter if, she wasn't my daughter, and that kind of crazy stuff he said about Ivanka. But this is a little more
in my
substantial.
view, honestly, they're all degenerate, all of them. Trump has been charged with rape. Biden has been charged. God only knows what Biden's been charged with that we haven't heard about. And the same with Trump. Look, they're both dirt, garbage. That's the state of American politics. That's one reason that the entire global reset is about to happen. The American Republic is really a corporation. And this corporation is now, and I'm telling you this from other sources, it's not this corporation is finished. They're going to go in and revamp everything. You're going to have digital currency. You're going to be forced to get vaccinated, or you will be declared some kind of a public health menace, etc. It goes on and on. Look at the stories up about what was leaked in Canada. All right, first they tried it out, and they're still doing it in Victoria, Australia. That's the beta test. Now they're going to move it to Canada. Several members, 30% I was told, of the Canadian Parliament want nothing to do with it. They will not go along. And they've leaked the plan. And the plan is really bad. It's not good. And if it comes to pass that Canada gets it, we're right below Canada. Look at the map.
Absolutely. Well, I sent you that article, I don't know if you got it right before the show, and I wrote recently called It's All Over But the Crying. And I think that really kind of sums up the way I feel. I mean, I've always been pessimistic. You and I both are, but I think it's over. The fat lady sung, she's waved the white flag, whatever. We lost. I mean, if you look at what has happened this year, or with this pandemic or whatever you call it, because it doesn't matter. No matter what is behind this and how real any of it might be, the reaction on the part of this country and the world, where they've been willing to shut down and put their masks on, apparently forever. Apparently they're never going to take them off. And you have people that have turned off all their critical senses, that are walking into restaurants. I see it every time. Wear your mask when you walk into the restaurant, but as soon as you go to the table, you can take it off and talk and breathe and do anything you want for as long as you're in the restaurant. But as you're walking in, you have to, nobody thinks, wait a minute. They don't question anything, Jeff, anymore. And this is why we're on the brink of disaster, because we haven't questioned anything for decades. We've let these jokers get away with, unconstitutional roadblocks and, free speech zones and Patriot Acts and these horrible, not to mention lying about every assassination and every event and 19 crazed Arabs armed with box cutters and plastic knives. Everything we've let them get away with for years, it's culminated in where we are today. We're a dumbed down lot, and you have people walking around with masks on. It's mind-boggling. It's really, it almost makes you want to cry when you go out in public and see it played out, when you see people scurrying around in their masks, little kids in masks, old people. It's just stupid.
Yeah, but when you're somebody like the Communist News Network's Chris Cuomo, you don't have to wear a mask. He was seen out all over New York last night, I guess, with no mask on, hobnobbing, as they say. So, if you're among the privileged, you don't have to follow the rules. This is all being done by plan, the whole thing.
Didn't Marie Antoinette do that? I mean, wasn't that kind of what was behind the French Revolution? I mean, wasn't that the attitude then? These are, the rules are for peasants. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the guys that are the most, like Cuomo apparently just does not want to wear a mask ever. I mean, he's Tucker Carlson had the show where he had a letter from his, apartment manager or whatever. Said, look, you've been seen multiple times. I mean, how?
Well, he was allegedly infected, and maybe he says, I'm immune now, and I'm not a threat, so...
Well, I'm sure he'd have an excuse. I'm just like Nancy Pelosi was set up as she wanted. These people, you would think they'd have it, but this is how, how bold they are. And what gall they have is that they don't care. They don't care if they're filmed on security cameras without instead of being ashamed at the incredible hypocrisy, they'll make up an excuse. Well, the owner set me up or something, and that's where their minds are at. They don't like any conspiracy theories, but something like that, they'll come up with some kind of conspiracy theory. Yeah, the owner wanted to get you for some reason. She's, opening her shop just for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Hold on a minute. Donald Jeffries and I'll be right back with much more. Hang on. It just gets crazier out there all the time. I'll tell all of you because all of you care. Jordan Maxwell coming on the third hour tonight. I just got a call. Jordan has had another, at this moment, heart attack. He is at this moment in a paramedic ambulance on the street outside the house he was at in Los Angeles, and they are... He told the fellow who owns the house, he gave him my number, he said, call Jeff, please. And I just had the call during the commercial break. Jordan wants to do the program, but I'm very concerned about his well-being. He barely had a pulse, barely breathing, and had this guy call me. And we had talked earlier today. He sounded fine. And I hope maybe all of us can hold a little thought for Jordan right now. I'll let you know. I'm going to get a call back from the gentleman who did just call when he finds out. They're running an EKG on Jordan right now in the ambulance right now in Los Angeles. So I just want you to know what's happening. This is a very difficult world we live in. Every day is special. Every day is a blessing. If you have people in your life, if you're fortunate enough to have people in your life that you love, let them know that and treat them with that awareness every time you see them and talk to them. We're in really difficult times, and at any moment, the light switch can be turned off. I just don't know how to explain it any more than that. But every day, honor each day and do your very best, no matter what your political beliefs. Okay, Donald, thanks for that. I think it's Jordan will want me to tell people. So.
Oh, important thoughts, and all of us. I admire him as well. We all certainly wish him the best, and I hope he recovers.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, let's go back to doing what Jordan would want, and that's taking a look at the situation in this country. What we have is the Biden family, the Biden crime family. I started using that term some time ago. It's spreading all over the place. The daughter, the diary, Ashley, she had apparently written in the diary she was being forced to take inappropriate showers with her father, the creeper. Now she's talking in the diary, apparently. I don't have the diary. I can only tell you and report to you what I'm seeing, that the diary reveals child sex trauma, drug abuse, and a deep resentment for her own father, for reasons I think that you can connect the dots and come up with. Now, that said, Biden, when he is asked about his, I don't know how despicable a human being can get, but Hunter Biden is certainly it. He's right there at the very bottom of the scum barrel. Here's Biden defending his son, saying none of it's true, it's all a lie.
How is that not a conflict of interest?
It's not a conflict of interest. There's been no indication of any conflict of interest from Ukraine or anywhere else. Period. I'm not going to respond to that. Let's focus on the problem. Focus on this man, what he's doing, that no president has ever done.
You're selling access to the president. You're a damn liar.
Now here he is at that earlier event where he called one of the audience participants, "You're a damn liar." He just totally attacked this guy verbally.
You're a damn liar, man.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said?
I got your word straight, Jack.
Do you think it was wrong for him to take that position, knowing that it was really because...
She's talking about Burisma, the energy company, the gas company, natural gas in Ukraine. Do you think it was wrong that your son took that job?
That company wanted access to you.
Well, that's not true. You're saying things you do not know what you're talking about. No one said that. Who said that?
Don't you think that...
Here's an email that has been posted. This is from Vadim Pozharskil in Ukraine, I guess. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really an honor and a pleasure. So the lies are just endless. We know Trump is a liar. Better the liar you know than the one you don't know, huh? I don't know. Where do we go with this?
But I mean, to think that, again, that this is the guy they picked. You know, they knew he had all this internal baggage.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Of course they knew. Bernie Sanders, as far as I know, we know what his politics are, but he may be a Marxist or whatever. I don't know what he is, but as far as I know, he doesn't have these kinds of personal issues. I don't even know, does he have kids? But I don't think he has anything like that. And certainly, what I thought were the better candidates, Tulsi Gabbard, it's not there, and even someone like Pete Buttigieg, who you mentioned, I don't agree with at all. But he's very articulate.
No, at least you can watch the guy thinking and speaking. So
yes, I think he could have made Trump look pretty stupid, and so could Tulsi Gabbard, and I don't know about Bernie maybe even, but so the idea that they know Biden's limitations, they know Biden's either has dementia or whatever's going on where he's not what he used to be. So who made the decision?
They knew everything about Hunter Biden. They knew everything about his laptop. They knew this last December at the very earliest. They probably knew it long before that. The Chinese Communist Party has been blackmailing and bribing the Biden crime family for years and years. It's easy to compromise them. Just give Hunter a little endless supply of 10-year-old girls, some crack cocaine, and who's doing the filming? That's another question. Obviously, they had a hidden camera.
Yeah, I'm suspicious of all of it, and as someone who believes in conspiracies, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think this is it. I think this, I guess we were all talking about an October surprise. Is this the October surprise? I don't know what kind of an impact it's had on the public because, again, the mainstream media is
the Rasmussen poll is a big one, and it just came in with now Trump is in the lead. All right? We all understand polls.
Wasn't he down
14
by 13
points or something
last week?
Yeah.
Really? 14% of the people changed? I mean, that's why I think these polls are ridiculous, because I don't think many people are changing. Who's changing their mind about it? People either love or hate Trump. Are there any decided?
Now, here, let me suggest this. Even if those people who used to support him are disgusted by his lying and inability to follow through on his promises, perhaps in many cases by the global elite who tell him what to do. Maybe that's why some of his promises were broken. I don't know, but that's a possibility. But the Trump support base will never vote for Biden. It's not going to happen. They'll not vote. They'll just stay the hell out of it. I think what you're seeing here is more and more people are planning to go to the polls. They are aghast at the idea of a mentally deranged and demented pervert. Look at the videos of this guy. Hey, it's okay. He's just warm and fuzzy and what? Loves to put his face and his nose on little girls' heads and smell them? Yes. Come on. Get real. Get real. That's a sick son of a bitch, that guy. And so they knew all this that's why I said in the beginning, this ticket is a designated loser ticket. Kamala Harris, who people continue to try to say her name is pronounced Kamala. Well, I saw Miss Kamala when she didn't know where she was yesterday in Cleveland, and she said, "Is this Cleveland?" Somebody said, "Yes." And she said, "Hey, Cleveland, it's Kamala." She said it clear as day. It's Kamala. You don't mispronounce your own name. If it's Kamala, you don't mispronounce it. So she said Kamala.
I saw her a little clip of her speaking. It's one of the typical campaign rallies where it looked like nobody was there, like the Biden rallies. But she was doing that Hillary Clinton thing where she was trying to talk black or Southern. It sounded so ridiculous, and nothing makes me more. It's like what? I mean, first of all, how is anybody impressed with that? I mean, why? I mean, don't you know what they're doing?
It looks like you're groveling and you're condescending and groveling and pandering and all kinds of things. It's so insulting. That's why 50% of America's blacks now apparently support Trump. This is unprecedented.
I think there's a reason for that, because most people. I mean, I worked as a blue-collar worker, as a young guy. I worked with hundreds and hundreds of blacks and people of all. I was always a minority in those jobs, and I got to know them really well. And we hit it off because I'm the way I am with everybody. I don't hide anything. I'm blunt, and they like that. But I heard over and over again they couldn't stand that kind of condescending and like the things. The Democratic Party now they don't understand where they're talking about. They don't want voter ID because it's racist. Well, if you talk to average black people, they say, what do you mean? They don't think black people have IDs? I mean, we don't have. I mean, it's very condescending. It's very pandering, and I think somebody like Trump, he's blunt, and he's kind of, he doesn't apologize, and I think they respect that more. And I think that I believe that he definitely has more support among blacks than maybe any Republican candidate. God, I don't know since when. Maybe I don't know how much Nixon got of the vote, but you probably have to go back that far to get the anywhere near 50%.
Yes,
so
yes. No, I'm not. I don't remember 50%. Not even close. They've always been the Democrats' whipping post, and they take the blacks for granted.
Well, since Roosevelt, since FDR, FDR was the first one to really get them as a voting line. But so I do think, especially, because I see more and more people, and I thought they were deluded, but I don't know. Maybe this is all just, I think it's all rigged anyhow, but I just assumed there would be another close election. If I'm writing the script and I really want division and contention, then I'm going to do the same thing as last time and have Trump lose the popular vote by even larger margin and eke out electoral college wins so people can be raging out at the electoral college still. But I see more and more people, predicting a Trump landslide. I see people claim he's going to win every state. California's in the mix now. How could he possibly win California? I don't know how that's possible, but there are people out there predicting that this is going to happen. So if that happens, I can only imagine what the left, I can't even, because the woke left, I mean, maybe the people in Hollywood that have been threatening to leave will actually leave. I don't know, because I mean this guy is so in their heads it's not even funny. I mean, the way you read some of the tweets of these people, it's like, why would you? If he's just this big doofus guy, I don't know why anybody. I really can't get that offended by him. I just think he is a joke and he's a laughingstock. But this is America. Trump, I think, represents America in its idiocracy stage. This is what you get. This is what, you wanted. You want this kind of WWE theatrics. You want all bluster. You want people tweeting and having rallies, but nothing really getting done. And you don't seem to notice the difference. I still hear his people talk about, did you see that rally? That was the most exciting rally yet. Well, Did that rally deport any illegal immigrants or build the infrastructure or bring the troops home? I don't think so.
No. These are really crazy times, and I felt from the beginning that the communists were setting us up. They cannot have Trump lose. It just can't. They've got to have reason to manifest this phony rage, okay? He stole the election. He's this, he's that. We're going to get even. We're going to burn it down. If Trump think about it. If Trump loses, the rug gets pulled out from Antifa and BLM. They lose all the momentum. And what have you heard about them in the last few days? Next to nothing.
Right. Yeah, there is, and you're right. I mean, they have to, because if Biden wins, and first of all, he would have to live up to the pressures of the woke left, because he doesn't have any policies of his own. He doesn't know where he is, I don't think, but he certainly doesn't have any policies of his own. So he's going to be subject to what's the crew or whatever, AOC and the others that are going to be pressuring for the Green New Deal and all this stuff. And, and then he's going to be faced with how hard this is. I think it's got a lot harder to accomplish than, say, closing the borders and deporting illegals. I mean, I thought that would be a little simple.
Biden's free college for everybody, he said, was going to cost $150 billion. The most conservative estimate from people who know say $400 billion minimum, not $150 billion. $500 billion. See, there's no more money. It doesn't exist.
And any of these kinds of things that you do, I mean, I think we have the worst healthcare system in the alleged first world. I work for it. It's horrible. Yeah. So people that say, universal healthcare, I've talked to people in England and Canada. They all love their healthcare system. So I don't see how they could devise anything worse than what we have now. But you have so many people that are invested in that system alone, with the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies, all the big executives that work at the healthcare, all these, hospitals and healthcare organizations. They're all making so many millions of dollars off of this that you think they're going to sit there. They're not blue collar workers. When you lay off 50,000 workers at a factory, it's nothing. They're figures on a chessboard. Well, suck it up, buttercup. Go out and get learn a new skill. But these guys, they're not going to, the pharmaceutical industry alone, with they've suppressed the war that they have waged on healthcare, health food stores and natural supplements and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Sure. They're not going to go quietly into the night. So just something like that, it's impossible to do. Obama didn't even confront it. They accused him of doing that, but the last thing Obamacare was that. All Obamacare was is the same crappy system with a plan written by the insurance companies, and he added in that horrible individual mandate where he forced you to buy it and then paid you a penalty if you didn't do it. So
there was so much wrong about that horrible program, and I can't remember. There was some. I wish I could. There were some really big things that were screwy. The people that wrote it, the people that put it together were not qualified. I forget the details, but it was. What did Obama do in 8 years?
Well, Obama. Now, I'll give you. There's a couple things he did. First of all, he did a couple good things came out of Obamacare. One is they got rid of pre-existing conditions, which is a good thing. And the other thing, they allowed adult children to stay on their parents' plan. Well, my family, we took advantage of that until they were 25, I think 26, because there's, again, these young people are not making enough money to be able to do that. And a lot of the places they work don't have health care. So those are good things. Obama pardoned, Manning, which I thought was a great thing on his last day in office. I thought that was a really good thing. Now, he or she is up on other charges.
Well, there were a lot of people that should have been pardoned, and I understand the LGBTQ tranny thing here. I get that. That's nice. It got him some support. It didn't ring my bell, but whatever. No, there are a lot of people that need to be given, I think, pardons.
Certainly he did. I'm not saying he did anything else good at all, really. Those couple things, but what did W. Bush do in 8 years? Same kind of thing. I don't know that he did anything. So,
well, we have photos of him kissing the heads of, I think it's 10 bald men or something like that. W. was another pervert.
Yeah.
He was creepy. What was that? Jeff Gannon checked into the White House 147 times, and he only checked out the same night on like 25% of those times. He stayed overnight.
Yes, and this guy was, he was a known male call boy, a call guy. And again, nobody, and that's what I mean. When you get into that area, I suspect, like, if they found something like that out about Trump, the press would shy away from that. And because they go up to a certain level, but they don't want to get much as, that's why I think you'll see in Tucker Carlson, Trump, nobody's talking about the child pornography aspects, alleged on those Hunter Biden videos, because they don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Wait a minute. Well, first of all, why would somebody 48 years old be with a 10-year-old girl and be violent? I mean, that's just,
well, why would a father be showering with his daughter at an age where she noticed it was inappropriate and much more, right, if that diary is real? If
that's true. And it's also because, I mean, I think if she was really little, I think that's natural. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Now, it depends on how old she was and how she felt. But yeah, if she got to be,
I believe she was 10-ish or more. I don't have it.
Yeah, that's definitely inappropriate then. But it also matters again too. It wouldn't necessarily be inappropriate if they were all dressed like in bathing suits or something. But yeah, if they're naked, definitely. But I just think, and again, I'm the last person to defend Biden, and I think there's obviously a lot there. I've written articles in the American Free Press about Hunter Biden's corruption in the Ukraine and Joe Biden's apparent, knowledge of it and financial
total knowledge
benefit.
He couldn't not know, for God's sake.
No, he had. But
he lied. I just played that clip a little while ago. He is a bald, just like so many. He's a bald-faced liar. Trump has spun his share of lies. I'm not picking sides here. It's the state of the nation. It's rotting.
But the timing of all this is very suspicious. And and some on the left are saying this, and they're saying it's fake news. Well, it doesn't appear to be fake, but the timing of it, with the FBI having it since last December, why are they dropping it? Why is it coming out right now before the election? And apparently, even with the media holding back on it, enough people, I guess, you're finding out of little tidbits on Fox News or on the internet.
Correct.
More extremist sources that it's maybe having an impact. And I think if that's the case, I don't think any of those people were going to go vote for Trump, but you may be right. Well, they just might not vote. They just decide, well, I'm not going to vote for this guy. He's a horrible person.
Remember also that last election, 50% of the eligible voters didn't vote.
Right.
And they may be getting up and going out to vote this time around. Maybe they're already doing it. I'm sure some are. Some key states, 60% or more of the total number who voted in 2016 have already voted this year, a week early, plus a week, 10 days. So there's heavy voting going on. And I think that the silent majority, which to me constitutes 50% who did not vote in 2016, a lot of those are going to get up and go say, no communism here. That's your vote. The Constitutional Republic of the United States of America or Zionist Bolshevik communism. That's your choice. Forget the people. Forget the personalities. Just understand that those who are running the planet are going to make us pay terribly in the next 6 months. It's going to be really bad.
Well, we're going to have Zionism either way. We're not going to get away from that no matter what. Trump's certainly given you more Zionism than any president we've ever had. But I wouldn't want to make a prediction. Again, I think it's looking more. I agree with you. It's looking more like they're gonna put Trump back in. But I just I certainly didn't see Trump getting elected the first time. So nothing they do, like you said, it would not surprise me to see a real last-minute October surprise where Biden suddenly withdraws. I don't want to have any more harm. The damage this has caused to my daughter and my son and my grandchildren, this is too much, and it's a shame.
Hello?
That,
hold on a second, or keep talking.
Sure.
I got to get this call. Hi.
Sure. Okay. I mean, but the idea that you could have a last-minute surprise, and maybe Biden would resign from the ticket, and you would have a sudden contender emerge from the shadows, a la Hillary Clinton, or perhaps Michelle Obama, because I always thought those were the two candidates that the powers that be most wanted. But again, I don't think it would be Kamala Harris. I don't think she would ascend to the top spot.
No. She doesn't have anything. That's our crazy wild Monday. Nothing more on Jordan Maxwell. He is in the hospital, at least for the night. And we We hope you'll be fine. And just a lot going on. Take good care.